Chapter 5, Smith and Powhatan. Okay, look at page 20. Look at the picture there on page 20. What do you see? Powhatan was a leader of a large group of American Indians. Okay, on page 21, what do you see there? Who's in that picture? What's in the background? What is getting ready to happen? Okay, the caption for that picture is, many historians think that Pocahontas actually may not have saved John Smith's life. But in this picture, it looks like she is saving his life. Okay, page 22. A portrait of Pocahontas shows her in European clothes. She doesn't look much like an Indian in that picture. Okay, page 23, let's read the cartoon. Looks like Captain Newport saved the day. Yes, years later the settlement of Newport News was named after him. Alright, and the picture below that is an old picture of a map of Virginia. Okay. You can read along with me, or you can turn it off now and read it on your own. There was a powerful Indian leader in the Jamestown area named Powhatan. More than 30 groups or tribes answered to him. Powhatan's group were named the Powhatan Indians after him. Powhatan did not like the settlers. He saw them as invaders. In December 1607, John Smith left Jamestown with a small group of men. He wanted to explore the surrounding region or area. While away, the group was attacked by Powhatan Indians. Some of Smith's men were killed, but Smith was taken captive. Smith was brought before the great chief Powhatan. He enjoyed a feast with the American Indians. Then 2 stones were brought out. They were placed in front of Powhatan. At that point, things did not look good for Smith. He was dragged over to the stones and thrown on the ground. The Indians placed Smith's head on the stones. They stood above Smith with raised clubs. John Smith was sure he was going to die. He thought that the Indians were about to crush his skull. Just at that moment, an Indian girl named Pocahontas came running out. She was only about 12 years old. Pocahontas was Powhatan's favorite daughter. She begged her father to stop his men, but the chief would not listen. So Pocahontas raced over to Smith and put her head on his. If John Smith died, she would too. Powhatan told his men to put their clubs down. Pocahontas had saved John Smith's life. The story John Smith told of his first meeting with Powhatan is famous. However, we do not know if it's true. Smith often told stories that made him look brave or important. Pocahontas probably did meet John Smith that evening, but what she really did that night is not clear. Some people think that Pocahontas did not act on her own. They believe that her father told her to save Smith. Powhatan was a very wise chief. He may have known that killing a Jamestown leader was a bad idea. Perhaps he wanted Smith to owe him a favor. Smith returned to Jamestown. A few days later, Pocahontas brought food to the colony. By then, the harsh winter of 1608 had set in. The settlers were grateful for her help. They were less pleased with John Smith. Many of the gentlemen were angry at having to work. Others blamed Smith for the deaths of the men he went exploring with. The governing council sentenced John Smith to hang. Yet John Smith's life was spared again. This time, Captain Newport rescued him. On January 4th, 1608, Newport returned to the colony from England. He brought supplies and more settlers. Newport had Smith released. He knew that Smith got along well with the American Indians. The captain felt that the colony needed Smith alive. It was a good decision. On January 7th, 1608, a terrible fire swept through Jamestown. It destroyed the settlers' homes, food, and supplies. After the fire, the Indians brought them more food. By spring, the colony had been rebuilt. Captain Newport again left for England. The settlers planted new crops and hoped for much better times.